many of you attempted the challenge of no negative talk for the 24 hours?
I didn't do that. I saw it, but I didn't.
I like the way you put attempted. I attempted about 40 times. And every time I slipped, I said, okay, notice you have slipped, start again. But after a while, I either stopped counting or just checked myself. But it was not a fluid 24 hours of none of it. But it did help in being mindful about what are some of my thoughts and how I wanted to focus my thoughts differently. So it did help.
Okay, noted. And I see that we have a new name here this evening. Sarah, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hello, and welcome to Befitment's
Thank
Monday
you.
night
Welcome, Sarah.
podcast. And I hope that you enjoy it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Sarah.
Thank you so much.
All right, so guys, please excuse me a little bit. My sinus is really not in the best place right now at all.
So, Sarah, where are you joining us from?
I work with Lisa, and she's wanted me to listen in. She wanted me and my mom to listen in.
Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. He said that extra points on the Genius Goals board.
Yep.
Very nice, very nice, very nice, Lisa.
Thank you, Catherine.
You are most welcome. So while Adana is there, what we can be looking at, of course, we will, during the course of the evening, be pointing out some of the changes that have taken place for the format of this particular podcast. You would have noticed that it's Genius Goals Fuel and Flex series, episode 1. So our fitness area and our Genius Goals, the Fuel and Flex Challenge area, and the Genius Goals podcast, they are now combined. And something else that has changed is also the time. So there's an additional half an hour to this programming. So it's from 7 to 8:30. So which gives us a chance to go over and express and delve into a lot of the areas and combine the two because they both aspects of the body and the mind and how we formulate things and go after what we need and be intentional about what we need. Those things are not really separate. So the whole aspect of being fit in the mind, being fit in the body, those things are being combined. And for those who join us for Fuel and Flex, the fit and the fitness workout on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can see where all of this is being tied together. Hello, Anastasia, and I'm seeing Nalini. And so tonight's discussion is going to reflect some of the changes. And also towards the end, we'll be giving you more information on some of the exciting things that are coming up in Befitment, some of the activities, some of the workshops that are in the pipeline, and some of the things that you can be doing. Congratulations to those who are on the leaderboard at the top. The distance is wide, but it is very possible to make it up for those of you who are now joining the Genius Gold Challenge and the Fuel and Flex Challenge. It's quite possible to make it up by getting some extra bonus points. For those just joining us and not understanding what Genius Goals or Fuel and Flex challenges are, then with the app, in the app, you can find the information that you are needing and you can follow us on all our social media platforms. So tonight we are talking about the power of. And when we hear the word ugly, what comes to mind?
the ugly cries that comes with starting over and sitting in the challenge and the hardship of overcoming the challenge. That's what came to mind, the ugly cry.
Okay. Does anyone else have a definition that is just coming to you very quickly when you hear ugly? Filman, what comes to mind when you hear ugly?
Um, I think ugly is the things that we don't want to look at, the things that we scorn. And I see the
Okay.
word ugly is the things that we scorn. But even though we scorn it, it's there still, you know? It's
Does
there in
anyone
front of us.
have a sorry, does anyone have a sense that there could be something positive and ugly?
Yeah, it's the change that comes after the when you say the ugly period, the challenging period. So the light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I'm saying. That's like the transition phase of, when you're evolving, so you let go. That is that transition phase where you're letting go and putting the past in the past and then moving forward to then become a better version of yourself.
Okay. Right. Is it Marissa joining us?
Yes.
So, welcome to the evening. And the power of starting ugly. Now, when I look at that title, I am seeing two things in there. One, there's power, there's some level of power. There is a part where I can redeem myself in that ugly is where I would normally put things that, as Lisa said, I don't like, I don't want. But many times, for me, we fail to have seen that ugly is how we see ourselves. Because everything on the outside is a reflection of what we feel on the inside. Because we are simply seeing ourselves in other people, in other things. So when we say, I don't like this person, not that, my blood just ain't take that person, it's really all about you. You are seeing something that you consider ugly within yourself, whether you recognize it, yes or no, whether you acknowledge it, yes or no. And now it is facing you. And rather than saying, okay, I recognize this is something that might be inside of me, what do I do instead? I project it onto somebody else. And I leave the situation with the person out there, and I do not try to fix myself. So for me, it is a question of starting ugly means you can, and this is for me. I want everybody else to share how the sentence is hitting them. You can start by looking inside. You have to start by looking inside. And when you look, you may find something that you do not want to see. You may find something that you never thought was there. Something happened to me this weekend, just a quick share. And in the Unstuck workshop, those who attended the Unstuck workshop, thank you for being here with us. There was something that I never even thought in my wildest dreams that I was still carrying around with me. I was 1000% 10 toes deep, certain. If you had challenged me in court, I would have sworn on a Bible that this thing, I had gotten it out of my system. And only to realize that no, it is still there. And not only is it still there, it is there and it is showing up in a way that you are not even aware it is affecting you. And it is part of your ugly. And from that moment, I started thinking, and I started to think, and then things started to show up. Videos started to pop up. You say your phone is always looking at you and listening to you. Videos started to pop up. Different things to help me to work through my ugly. So I would like others to share what they are getting out of the power of starting ugly, power of being able to start even when you do not feel that you are perfect, even when you do not feel you are worthy, even when you have these thoughts about yourself that are not the best for you. Does anybody want to share anything?
I think my ugliest was a couple years ago when I went through like major depression. Um, it wasn't something that happened overnight to me when I was going through it. I thought it was happening. It happened like overnight, but in retrospect, you realize it was a buildup of things that I held on to, you know, thoughts and beliefs that I had in terms of, somebody did something to you. So, you want that person to still feel that what you felt and when I went through that depressive state, it was like I felt like I was 6 feet under in a hole, in a very dark hole. And thanks to Befitment, thanks to, you know, the group of people that I had with me that helped me to work through that because it was a transformation into the ugly, like you have the ugly and now I blossom into who I am now. Um, but it was a phase in my life where I was definitely challenged. I was at a point where you feel like you have your family and your family is going to be there for you, and it's not that they're not there for you, but when you're in that space you feel so alone. And even if you have family, even if you have friends and you have support, it was a realization that I had to come to, that I'm the only one that could bring myself out of this. And through prayer, fasting, resilience, and sitting in my ugly, I couldn't run from my ugly. If I had run from my ugly, I probably wouldn't even be here today to talk about it. But I had to sit in my ugly and deal with it head on. Head on. I couldn't turn left, I couldn't turn right. I just had to sit in it and focus. And I remember feeling like, how am I going to get through this? How? It was that deep. And through prayer, through resilience, through hard work, through building that relationship with God, learning about myself, forgiving myself, learning how to let go. All the tools that we've learned so far, I had to apply. And at the end of that, I think, that's why I feel like acceptance is so big. And like Catherine said, you have to look within yourself because no one could do or make changes for you. You have to want the change and you have to put the work into blossoming and becoming and coming out of whatever ugly you're in. So I did that. It wasn't easy. It wasn't an overnight change. It's years of working on myself. It's years of consistently using the tools day after day, minute after minute, in every circumstance to be able to be here today to talk about it. So it's almost like it's every day, and it's just like you take little steps. It doesn't start off where you want a change and you have the grand change. It just takes little step, and in these little steps you realize, and that's why you realize, or where you start building that faith and start knowing. Within that change, I learned how to be, because I was always a doer. So I learned how to just be and go with the flow, be present, and live in the now. I think that was the biggest lesson for me, learning how to live in the now and just be. I remember when the first time we talked about just be, and I was like, how do you just be? I couldn't understand that concept of how to just be. And it turned out just simply you just take things for what it is, one step at a time. You ask your question, you get your answer, and you make the move and follow the instructions that you got. But that was my ugly. That was my ugly. It was very ugly.
I want to ask another question though. For all of us, when we look at ourselves, do we see any beauty at all? Do we see anything that we love about ourselves? Or is it that we can only see the the dirt, as just to give it a name, the dirt? Do we only see our shortcomings? Do we only see what we need to fix in our mind? Something is broken with us or something is wrong with us, and so we need to fix all these things before we can see. Do we see any beauty at all in ourselves? And how much beauty do we see?
Well, since no one else is taking the mic, um, I think for me it stemmed from like your upbringing, because it depends on. I've had people who I've talked to, work with, and they look at themselves and they love themselves. And one of the things is like, I remember this one person that I work with, her mother instilled in her and would have her look at herself in the mirror and, I am beautiful. So she instilled that in her. So I know for me and my mom and the way we were brought up, that was something that was never talked about. Those type of praises you never got. Like, her thing was always about education, and you had to, it's like one of those things. I don't have to tell you, but you know. So I grew up, I had a lot of insecurities still to this day, like with my size, my weight, whatever. um but once I had to go through my ugly, and it was a lot of working on myself with self forgiveness and self love, and accepting where you are and where you came from, and knowing that I did the best that I could have done with what I have at that time, what knowledge I had, and be able to let go and move forward, and then be appreciative of where I'm at. So I had times where I was like, I'm not satisfied with myself. And even up until this day, you're like, well, I'm this age, I should have been able to accomplish this, or I should have been able to do this, and I should have been, but once again, you're learning that you can't relive the past. You can't see, you can't proclaim what you want. I mean, you could proclaim what you want in the future, but you have to live now to be able to reap the benefits of what you want in the future. Right? So that was a big thing in understanding being present, and you only have now to be able to change the change your future or make your future into what you want it to be. So that was my thing. And another thing I think for me was, when you have kids and the way you grew up, but you always wanted better for your kids, or you feel like you didn't do enough for your kids. And even with your kids, sometimes you go, well, you didn't, or you should have, or we tend to beat up ourselves as parents, but it's also about the kids knowing that I did the best that I could have done. And, we shouldn't beat ourselves up because we did the best that we could have done. And it's the same to think about our parents and not have, because a lot of times we look back on our parents and we're like, well, my parents is this, or my parents, and this is the reason why I'm da 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 da. They did the best that they could have done. And now you know better, and you're only responsible for you. So it's up to you to make the change you want to have in yourself, for yourself.
Right. And Kay, your hand was up, and I saw it go down. Is it that you do not? Oh my goodness. Ay, ay, ay. Kim, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, I
Yes,
saw
I'm
your hand
here.
was
Can I
up and then
go
it
on?
went down.
Yes, I know I would be seen, so I put it down. Um, I would like to go back a step and answer the first question and then come back to the when I saw the topic, the first thing that came to mind was the ugly truth, because sometimes we live in denial, and it's have to face that ugly truth to know that, hey, there are certain areas that needs to be worked on, rather than just going forward, continuing in that state of denial, which everyone would know is not the best state to be
Hmm.
in. So yes, when I say topic, that's what I thought of. And the as to, do I see anything beautiful in myself? Yes, because you heard it from ever since I was a child. So yes, in the physical, yes, I like what I see. I'm used to what I see. I appreciate what I see. And in was always a creative person from childhood. So like to draw and art and color and whatnot. So always saw the beauty from within come out and displayed in those areas in my creativity, cooking and baking and stuff like that. So yes, that does not, and I'll go back to the friend, that does not take away from sometimes there's the ugly truth of certain things that needs some work. But yes, when I look at myself, I can see many beautiful things. I can see the beauty that I am, and also see that, yeah, there is some more work that could be done to even flourish more and to shine more and to be even more beautiful. So yes, so that's
Hmm.
what I wanted to ask.
Thank you, Kim. And I wanted to ask Anastasia, because Anastasia is our co-leader on the board, the leaderboard for Genius Goals. And I tell you all, people, it is tight. We're talking about 0.20 difference here. Well, Lisa has brought Sarah, so I don't know. Maybe by tonight, Lisa might have slid ahead, maybe another 3 points or something like that. But it is tight. Anastasia, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So how have what when you hear the power of starting ugly, what comes to mind and what has been your experience in starting ugly?
starting ugly is where change begins. If you don't see the ugliness in you, then you wouldn't address a lot of issues in your life that needs addressing. And you have to see it for what it is. It is ugly. You cannot dress it up or sugar coat it or chocolate coat it and call it by any other name but ugly. And then when you reach to the stage where you realize, yeah, what this is ugly, and you could reach to the stage that I do not like this and I don't want this anymore in my life, then there's where the power will come in, admitting and saying that you do not want it. Because some people live with ugly, they hug up with ugly, they love it up. They live with ugly, they hug it up, they love it up, and they say, this is how I am, and all these kind of things, and get stuck in ugly and not trying to change it. But when you reach the stage where you are what? You realize you're stuck in ugly and it's time to change this. Yeah, that is where the power is going to come in. The power to begin to work on ugly. Working on ugly is not something easy, it is a process. You can make 2 steps forward and 3 backward, but you have to be consistent and keep going. That's it. And you also have to get help too. You need help with ugly too, because sometimes you live with ugly for so much years that you don't know where to start from and you do not know what to do. There's where befitment comes. You will get the help that you need, you will know where to start from, and you will get the support to keep going on. And well, the second question is if you look at yourself and it's the obvious, I never see myself as ugly, you know. I, I just never see myself as an ugly person because to me, I have a kind and a loving heart. And to me, once you have that, I mean, you have ways that you have to change and you have issues in your life and you want to become a better person and all of that. And so you have to address.
Are you there? While we're waiting for Anastasia to come back, something I want to ask. When we look at ourselves and we are seeing all these things that need fixing, need changing, and all these things that we are describing about ourselves, how much of what we are seeing really came from within us? Or another way is how much of what we are looking at ourselves and down crying ourselves really came from taking other people's opinion of ourselves, whether physically, whether mentally. You so slow, you so this, you so that, she's so, he's so, you need to do this, you need to do that. Taking, and we take these opinions of from other people. They may be persons who are influential in our lives, and we listen, so we trust what they are saying, and we accept it as the truth. And we go about trying to fix things that for the other person might seem to need fixing. But for you, the real you, the who you are meant to be and designed to be, you are where you are supposed to be. So you might be trying to fix something that, I know for me, the only thing that needed fixing at one stage was for me to put down the things that I had accepted about myself, which came from other people. I was supposed to be ugly, physically ugly. And I took that and ran with that for many years. And so if someone said to me, "You're very beautiful," I remember I would say, I do not recognize the word beautiful. If you want to tell me I'm attractive, well, I will accept attractive. And I would say it with good English. And then I would have programmed myself to be a particular way, because if others tell you you're ugly physically, then I would have made adjustments for that ugliness. Whereas I would be wearing makeup, or who's it of makeup? I couldn't come showing my face like this years ago. No, everything had to be flawless. 40 pounds of makeup. And so I had to know it's okay to have corns on my toes. So what? I have toes. If you don't like to see corns, well, that's you. I have toes. Other people don't have toes. And so I would like to know how much of what we consider to be ugly really was because we found it in ourselves, something that we think truly needs to be different, or how much of it did we take from other people and put it on ourselves and then trying to fix that and calling it our ugly. I don't know if I'm explaining it the way it is in my head, but
But could I say something? I think
mhm.
it stemmed from your parents, from a child, what you are told about yourself. And like I said before, there's parents who would speak positive to their children, and they grew up with that sense of security. They grew up with that self confidence. And then you have the other side who they've been bashed, they've been told by their parents, and no fault of the parents, like, they were never taught to have that self confidence. But I think so a lot of times we grow up not even knowing we are bashing ourselves, because that is what we know in our head. That's just who we are. But until you get to a certain point in your life where you're like Anastasia was saying, I don't want to be this anymore. And you take ownership and you start accepting and knowing and loving yourself and being able to put yourself first and stand against culture, society, whatever it is that, the standards you might be living under, until you're able to establish your own identity and know your true self. I think we all kind of live under that umbrella of, you know, being influenced by someone else.
Anastasia, your hand is up.
Yes. I was wondering if it is you probably your upbringing have something to do with your senior or yourself upbringing. But for me, it was different. I did not have a good relationship with my mother, and she never tell me anything positive about myself. It was always fault finding and name calling and things like that. And on the contrary, to me, like she just made me toughen up and like myself more because for doing me that. Yeah, you understand? She just couldn't penetrate me because after a while, yeah, what? I start to see you as somebody mean, and why she let you penetrate me with your mean self? Yeah, you understand? So that is how I grew up thinking. Now at a time, something she tell me and I was crying. And my daughter come home and see me crying and say, "What you crying for?" And I explained to my daughter what I crying for. And my daughter say, "You have time to take that on? You have time to take that on? Girl, you're the best mother I have. You're the best mother. I will not exchange you for nobody else. You are the best mother I have." You understand? Well, listen, well, I can get more strength as I am a child, tell me that. So she just couldn't penetrate me, you understand? And sometimes you have to draw your strength from within and stop having people on the outside shaking you up, because it have mean people out here. And they mean because they have their own excuse and they're not dealing with it and they want to throw it on you and make you feel bad because they feeling bad, they want you to feel bad. You understand? And you have to draw your strength from it and don't let people have you feeling how you're not supposed to be feeling about yourself. Now, none of us perfect. All of us is a work in progress. But at the ending of the day, all of us beautiful. All of us are children of the universe, no less than the trees and the sky, and we have a right to be here. So you can't let people words have you shaky out here. And I'm saying this and I'm saying it to myself, because just the other day I had an encounter where somebody was like shaking me and I'm second guessing myself. And I started to talk to myself and say, no, 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 you can't have this happening. You can't have this happening at all. You know? So even within the midst of you being strong, sometimes it have somebody that could come along and try to turn your boat over. But you have to talk to yourself and get back on the track. That is my input.
Adana, do you have a question for us? Are you there? Anastasia, as you were talking about, and you mentioned the word perfect, we are not perfect. I looked down at the piece of paper in my book here, and I had already written, do we expect perfection before we start towards the change we want to see? Do we tell ourselves that we have to be so perfect before we can be beautiful? There's some things we play around in our minds, and it is only the mind, because the soul exactly knows who we are and how beautiful we are. It is only the mind that puts all these things, and we swim around in our mind and we tell ourselves that we are the mind, and we tell ourselves this, we need to have this, we need to have that, we need to be better. It's because we don't have enough money, and we don't have, and we don't have, and we need, and we need. And we look at ourselves and we only see what we do not have. And the more we can project what we do not have, is the less we have, and we will get even less. So, Kim, your hand is up. Kim?
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
It's it is so funny. I will share something that may make some of you laugh. I know of some people who would they are going to join the gym, but what will keep them from they would like to join gym, but what will keep them from joining the gym is the fact that they find they're not looking like they should to join the gym, so they would like to work out before they join the gym, so they never join the gym. They are going to get their feet, they need a pedicure, but they will say, "But my feet not looking up, so let me scrub it a little bit before I go get the pedicure."
Yeah.
Seriously. My sister is a hairstylist, and would have some persons who will she'll have to tell them, do not wash your hair before you come to get it permed. You are going to get burnt. And they said, but no, it was so dirty and dusty. I couldn't come. And she'll be, no, you cannot wash your hair before you come. If you like to wash it 1 week or 2 weeks before you get burnt. So yes, it's like it's so because of the fact that we want to appear a certain way, looking for perfection, you do certain things or beforehand for other things, or you remain stuck. You don't even do the thing that you're supposed to do because you think, no, to do this, I have to be a certain way. You would like to take a course, but you say, no, I can't go because I don't have the outfits or I don't have go as you are, start as you are. Now, mind you, I am one who would want to scrub before you go get it, even though I do my own pedicures, but I am one who would be tempted to do that. But I say tempted. I would, at home, if I'm going to, I will do a little wash, make sure it's not looking too messy. But I'm not going to scrub my foot and then go and get scrubbed again. But I know some people who do that because they say there was too much color. And I had to get rid of it because it's looking too terrible. No, come and get your foot. You come for a pedicure, come and get your feet scrubbed.
Kim, I'm laughing and I'm really laughing
I said,
because
you're coming to me.
you are
Don't be
talking
Kim.
and I am remembering a time in my life where I was really, really busy and I didn't have time to be taking care of house and how the house is looking and how the house is looking. And then I made the decision to hire someone to help me to come in maybe once a week and keep it in a particular way. And just as you were saying, I found myself debating as to what date I will ask this person to come because I don't want it to look like I wasn't keeping the house clean. So I want to tidy up first. I want to at least put things in a particular order so that the person wouldn't think that I was keeping a dirty house. Listen, by the time I turned around to call to the person had a medical issue and could no longer come to clean the house. And just as you're talking, I'm saying I spent a lot of time trying to give the impression that the house was perfect, I was perfect, the place was perfect. And when you get to the bottom of that, if everything is perfect, why you need somebody to clean? So what they coming to do? When you go to the hairdresser and your hair is already clean, what is the hairdresser going to be doing? So the question of perfection next to ugly. Sometimes I think the perfection is also the ugly. I don't know what you think of that because this drive for perfection. There you are, Dana. Do you have a question for us?
I don't have a question. I was just listening. I was just listening. And when you called, sorry, the when I tried, I was trying to load some things in the background, and when I tried to get back, the screen disappeared altogether.
Ooh.
So that is what happened. But in listening to everyone's responses and even all of their experiences, you're recognizing that when you look outside of you is when you would find that there is so-called ugliness because you're really focused on what you do not have. Because when you focus on what you do not have, you would find that I am incomplete. I am not perfect. Something is missing. But then what is really missing and how do you know something is missing if you're not basing it off of comparison of something someone else's life? So instead, if you were to shift your focus into what do you have? What flows to you naturally? What is unique about you? And you pour love into that, then you would find that in pouring love into that, that thing would blossom and that thing would make room for wherever it is that you need to be, wherever it is that you need to go. But if you keep your focus outside of you, thinking that I am missing something,
Mhm.
Catherine has etiquette skills. I don't have that. Lisa is a nurse. I don't have that. Kim is good with designing and sewing. I don't have that. If you keep looking at what you do not have, then what can you pour love into?
Yeah,
And once you don't have the opportunity to pour love into anything, you have the opportunity to create more negativity. And in
because that is where
creating,
you're pouring your love.
yes, and in creating more negativity, all the opportunities that were supposed to be there for you, what you're doing is that you're just pushing them further and further away. So imagine like there is a negative field around you, so nothing could come close. And why would anything want to come close? You know? Because the only thing that would come close is more negativity. That is the only thing that would really come close. But you really need to shift your focus and you're recognizing it is really a shift in focus. Because if you pour love, because remember too that love is everything, love is everything within, without surrounding you, within other people, and everything comes and stems from love. So once you pour from that space into what you already have, even if you think that it is incomplete. Some others are looking at you and saying, I wish I had that, if I only had that one little thing. Instead of you focusing on watering your own plant, ensuring that the soil has the nourishment that it needs, whatever, take out the weeds out of the plant, then you would recognize that, let me focus, let me groom this thing, let me really strengthen it, let me fortify it. And in fortifying it, then you would notice the other things that is around supporting that thing. And then you would see that you would start to discover a pathway will be open for you based off of your focus on you.
You.
And it is something that we struggle with a lot because, just as you all were discussing in terms of the earlier years, you were really kind of taught to focus on other people. Focusing on yourself is something that you were taught that it was a selfish thing to do. And you should always put others before yourself. But really and truly, if you do not help you and fortify you, then how can you help anyone else? When you think about it, you really can't help anyone else. So you really have to look at what you have already, even if that you think that it is incomplete. You thinking that it is incomplete means absolutely nothing to the universe, because the universe looking at you knows that you have everything that you need. And you thinking, no, this piece missing because Anastasia has this, or this piece missing because Nalini has this, but nothing is missing. The only thing that is missing is your focus in the present moment to focus on yourself. Because once you have that and you start to pour love, it could be one rice grain that you're pouring love into. It could be the smallest thing that you think is minuscule, but that is what you have. That is what makes you unique. That is what makes you you. And if you just pour love into that one thing, you would recognize after the plant start to go, you realize, wow, I didn't realize this thing even had roots. I didn't even realize the roots ran so deep. But if you leave the thing, and as we were discussing the weeks before, and the thing start to get the vines, and if you allow the vines to strangle the tree, then you would never discover what is really for you, what is meant for you. And sometimes it is something that you're born with naturally and you ignore because there was a different trend. So whatever your unique quality was, it's not trendy anymore. So you decide, you know what, let me leave this and let me go and follow somebody else's uniqueness. When that fit wasn't really for you, and you really need to sit with yourself and find your fit and what is required for you as a being. And that is why leading from your soul is so important because, all right, I've seen some people getting bumped. Woo, people getting bumped off. All right, guys, just a minute. Yeah, so some people get bumped off there. So that is why really leading from your soul is really so important. And as you all were discussing also, a lot of times the things that you think about yourself that are ugly really came from outside of you. Because how would they know? They are not, they don't have access to what is really the core of you to know what your uniqueness is and where your abilities lie. So, and as Anastasia rightfully said, I am not listening to anybody. I listen to what comes from within. I'm not paying attention. I know that I am beautiful, so that is what it is. Yes, Katrina, seeing that you also have your hand
As you
raised.
were talking and you mentioned the roots that run very deep, the same thing with me came back to me. The roots run deep on this side, and the roots run deep on the other side. The roots run deep with the things that you
All right, guys, for some reason, persons are getting bumped up. I
yes,
am not
it's not
sure
perfect
why.
again.
Yeah, persons are getting bumped off randomly. Yes, go
The
ahead.
roots run deep in the things that you are nourishing consciously, and the roots run deep in the things that you are nourishing
On
unconsciously.
yes.
And either which way, it is growing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even for my realization this weekend, where you, I was certain that I had gotten past that particular incident in my life, which I considered quite traumatic because I didn't like it and it shook me to the core. And with the years that passed, I said, okay, fine. I saw where there was benefit, where there was a lesson, there was something in the experience and whatnot. And without realizing it until this weekend, it had left, they say when you have the flu and you don't really get over the whole flu, it left a little strain of the virus. And that little strain of the virus had managed to creep into other things because, as we know, everything is connected. Every single thing is connected. And without even knowing or recognizing it, that was sitting there and affecting everything else that you say you want. So, in 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 nourishing or nurturing the things that you, in other words, and putting your focus on what you want. And even if you've had an experience, to quickly get to what was beautiful in the experience. What matches the beauty in me in the experience. And even though I can see in the physical that there was benefit because when the major earthquake came the Friday, my carport did not collapse. And that was because of that other person who was able to come way before and say, listen, how you have this thing built here is not the way it should be done. Do so and so and so and so and so and so and so. And because I had other thoughts in my head and I thought that the experience was about something else, I did it because I wanted to impress. And when the earthquake came, I said, hey, look at this house. The whole house is swaying, but my carport stood steady. The lines were like skipping ropes. But you didn't like the experience. But sometimes when you go through an experience, I think one of the other things as well is to check yourself a little deeper to see and make sure that no part of the little virus, the part that you don't like, remains because it then forms a part of what you see as needing fixing in yourself. Whereas the only thing I needed fixing is you need to let go. I need to let go that piece. I need to let go that piece so that I can see the beauty in the situation. I can see the beauty in me and maintain the beauty. Because I think that's another thing that sometimes we have difficulty doing. We go and we sort of get over something, and or we like something, but we quickly go back to complaining about something else in our life. And it is the complaining, it is the finding fault. And the worst kind of thing to find fault is to find fault with yourself, because then where you going after that? You're breaking down your own self.
And then the thing is, what we don't realize is that when you find fault with you, remember everything is connected. Then whatever you see as fault within yourself, everybody sees the same thing unknowingly to you.
You know,
They see the
the energy.
exact same thing. You don't even have to tell them anything because you express it in your actions daily. You don't even have to say the words. And they would see the same thing that you see about you because everything is connected. And sometimes you're saying, but how people always treating me a particular way, because how are
Yeah.
you treating yourself? So that is where it really starts. How are you treating you? Why do you see yourself as imperfect? And that is why the image, I'm not sure if you all saw the image of the parrot on the flyer for tonight's discussion. Because we all know baby parrots are not the prettiest things. It is very interesting that they grow up to be so beautiful, because my sister's family, they have parrots, and when they come, they look like they are having a hard time with life. They look very rough, very, very rough. And now when you see them and they blossom and they're so beautiful and all the colors that they come with. And it is the same thing with starting ugly. It's just about starting where you are. And even I know earlier in the discussion you all were talking about um other persons. A lot of times people pronounce things on you and persons say you're this or you're that or you're ugly or whatever it is. But remember, those persons don't define you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we take what other people say and we run with it. But they do not define you unless you allow them to do so. They don't define you. So all the things that you would like to get up and do and start, all you have to do is start wherever you are with the little. If you just have a rice grain, start with the rice grain. Give the rice grain a chance.
Mhm.
A lot of times we take the things and we throw them away and throw them to the side. And then sometimes when you're cleaning, you discover that you say, hey, I was supposed to. Or I had always wanted to. Or sometimes you retire and you're now stating, I had always wanted to. But just start where you are. Because a lot of times, again, with the perfection, you're expecting life to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 in a perfect sequence. And it does not happen like that. I was also one of them. So when I discovered bumps and potholes and water in the road that you have to swim across, it would really have you overwhelmed and thinking that you should give up. But remember, that is not really the case, because it is within those instances, just as in Anastasia's case, you would recognize that that is where resilience is built. But if you always take what other people are saying about you as truth and as fact, then how would you become resilient and how would you grow? How would you even evolve? Because you have
You'll always
to
be
look
piston
at
in the
things.
wind.
Yes, you have to look at things from the perspective of what is the purpose of this. Not from the perspective of this made me feel like this, and you hold on to that feeling for years and you're just stuck in life and you don't even know that you're stuck. You
Mhm.
just know that things are not, a lot of times, no, it's true, people don't know that they're stuck. They don't know. They really, really, really don't know that they're stuck. So even as the things come and people say certain things, remember those things don't define you. And that is why it is important to really sit with yourself and pour love into you. Pour love into whatever unique ability you have. And stop ignoring it because somebody told you A about it 15 years ago. That person probably not even here anymore. And that is what you choose to hold on to about yourself, ignoring the other 15 persons who tell you, that is something that you should really try to, work with, discover, see where it leads. And a lot of times we just ignore it. And even if you attempt the first time and it doesn't work out, you could try again. You could try again tomorrow for free. It doesn't cost anything. Because that is what the children do. They ride on the bike, they're doing whatever, they fall down, they're trying again tomorrow for free to fall again. Even I know with a lot of us who went on the hike and it was a bit difficult. And after the hike, people reaching out, even my sister, and she keeps saying, so when is the next one? But while we were in on the trail coming back out, it was not feeling like that. But after overcoming it, you would recognize that, okay, all right, I could do this again. And that is, I think, was the common denominator with everyone. Everyone stated, even though it was difficult, they would like to know when the next hike is. And that is what life is. It's about overcoming the obstacles, overcoming the challenges, starting where you are. Even if you don't have money to go in the gym, Just start where you are. Even if the thought come in to just walk up and down, I don't know, you could walk around the four corners of your room. If your room is a circle, you walk in a circle. Your room is a rectangle, you do that as well. And just start where you are. Nothing is too small, because progress is progress at the end of the day. Progress is progress. And if you keep comparing your progress to someone else's progress, you would run into a lot of problems, because if nobody really well, some persons, they don't really tell you the depth of what they had to do to get to where they are. So a lot of times, we see the tip of the iceberg, you don't see all the effort that was put in.
Yeah.
So it is really not fair to yourself that you keep comparing yourself to others. And even if you start and persons have the world of things to say, it is okay. They do not define you. They do not understand what you understand, and they do not know what you know. Remember, a lot of persons who are looking in at you from the outside perspective, they do not know what you know. They do not understand what you have understood. Your experiences are not theirs, and their experiences are not yours. So don't expect them to understand and expect them to have the same mindset that you have and the same drive that you have. It is not the same, and it will never be the same. And that is why you really have to focus on you. Focus on what is required for you. The thought that keeps coming that you keep ignoring, focus on the thought. Pour some love into the thought. Even if you're not ready to move as yet, sit with the thought a little bit and see what flows from that thought. Sit with the thought a little bit and see what flows from it. Catherine, I've seen that you have your hand raised.
Yes. The other aspect for me of the power of starting ugly is push past the fear of whatever it is you think may happen or may not happen for you. I want to go back to the same example of what was hanging around and I didn't even know it was hanging around. And for me, I would always say, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is the kind of relationship I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And between Saturday and Sunday, I had to look at something. And it was the first time in the years that the incident had happened that I was able to verbalize something. And when I looked at it, I realized that, hey, this is what you have planted, the little piece of the virus that's hung around. And subconsciously, you look for that pattern in every single relationship that you could have imagined, could have thought of, or anyone that might have thought they would come in your direction. You are looking for that pattern, and you did not know you were looking for it. And when I had to face that, it was like a light bulb went off. And for me, it became a question of, you have to take care of you. You have to go and love up you. Love up you. Because somewhere in there you lost a piece and you didn't realize you lost a piece. And that piece you needed to be present because you need to be complete in order to get to where you want to go. And so you can start by just loving up you. Treat you the best. What you have been doing before was like, what you call it? Maybe a pantomime, where you tell yourself the thing looks like the thing, but it's not really the thing. And so for me, my 30-day challenge for this period coming here is just to love up me. Just to treat me kindly. kind thoughts of me, kind words to me. You want some ice cream? Have some ice cream. Don't be studying about, you want to look slim for a certain reason because you want to. All those things are the ugly. And you are living in the ugly when you tell yourself you're in the beauty part. Because so there was a lot that I had to unpack this weekend between Saturday and now. And so for me, the thing is just treat me nicely. So what did I do? I wanted some gel moisturizer. I went out the road just now and purchased it. Yeah, I didn't bother as to where to put it, on which bill to put it. It didn't, no. Treat me nicely, because if you are asking the universe for something, you must at least look like it to be able to attract it. And if you are sitting on the opposite side because of fear, because of doubt, because of you're lacking confidence that you could actually get what it is. And like I said, you're unconsciously, subconsciously holding certain patterns. So you're in the ugly, and what to do? Recognize that they're there and start to move towards where you want to go. And baby steps. It will not be an overnight thing, but baby steps. You recognize, okay, one step. You get some, this is my intention, that this is where I want to go, this is where I want to be, and you move towards it. And I think Lisa mentioned something like that earlier. You move towards it. And so before you know it, you will be where you want to be without any focus on I'm the worst thing, I'm the this thing, because even in saying those words, the universe does not know the difference. You don't know the difference. Your body doesn't know the difference. Nothing knows the difference between you just talking, and so everything is registering for you. Everything is registering for you. So the relationship you want is you are not worthy. You want a job, you are not worthy. You want a new house, you are not worthy. Everything has registered just what you have registered on yourself in that pattern. And so for me, the journey ahead seems beautiful because, okay, I was able to recognize something. And in recognizing that, to me, I could go into a different space now. Because one of the questions I had was, how do you maintain the beauty? Once you've identified the beauty, how do you maintain the beauty? And I think how you maintain the beauty is the same way you got out of the ugly. Focus on where you want to go. Know what you want. Focus on where you want to go. Know it's going to be a process. A process may take some time. So when you get the thoughts of what you do not want, you just move your thoughts guide them into another area of this is what I want, this is where I'm going, and everything else will conspire to take you where you're going. That's just me, my
Yes.
thought.
And in doing so, you would recognize that in focusing on what you want, you're pouring love into that thing that you already have. And when you pour love into what you already have, you would realize that thing would grow and blossom. And once there is love there, love would attract more love. And that is where you really have to start from. You have to start from love. And then you would realize that even after pouring love and you nurture whatever it is and it grows, you would recognize, that aspect of me was never really ugly. Or the situation or the circumstance or the experience, it was never really ugly. It was just what was required to move me out of one space to another space. And a lot of times you hold on and you define it as this, not recognizing that the true purpose of it was something else entirely. Just as Anastasia said, with the negative words that she got resilient and she realized, I'm not taking you on. You understand? It was just to move you out of one space to another space. So you don't have to hold on to it and define it or even hold on to the things that other persons have also defined for you, not knowing who you truly are at the end of the day. So if there's one takeaway that you all should take from tonight is pour love into what you already have. This is the body that I have. I am pouring love into it. This is the house that I have. I am pouring love into this house. This is the vehicle that I have. I am pouring love into this vehicle. This is the relationship that I have, or even the marriage that I have. Let me pour love into it and then see what happens. But if you stand aside and then you decide, well, no, I am not pouring any love, I am going to continue to complain and speak negative, know that more of that will grow. You would be in not a better off position at the end of the year with the same resolutions that you had from 2 years ago, wondering why you keep experiencing the same things from different people. Because at the end of the day, life reflects life. So everything starts with you. As Katrin said, love up yourself, pour some love into yourself. Start with you first, and then pour love into what you already have. Because sometimes what you already have is all that you need. And you're looking outside of that thinking that you need more or you need this specific thing when you really don't need those other things. Because they were external influences because you were not focusing within yourself. And that's what social media does do to us. Social media does make you feel as though you need the Bentley, you need the house in Bora Bora, you need the Louis Vuitton shoes, the Chanel bag. The only thing those things is really getting that. That is the only thing. Pour love into what you already have. You already have it. Sometimes you might need to declutter a little bit to find it back. So you could start decluttering and you would find it back. But you already have it. Stop looking outside of yourself for it. It is already within you. But if you don't harness it, then you will never discover it. Yes, Katrin, I've seen that you have your hand raised.
Well, Adana, as you spoke to it, I say things really in a flow. Declutter.
Mm-hmm.
And what came to me was, even if you're trying to love up yourself, like what I'm going to be doing, you can start with the physical surroundings you have. You see all the old clothes as we looked at when we do dowdy, you see all the old clothes and all the old things we're holding on to. Those things, just weed them away. Just weed them away. You have one negligee and it's not, no, weed it away. Old things, torn up things, worn things, things that when you look at it, your spirit just turn over and you just see lack and you see want and need. Get rid of those things from in your presence. Do not even give them to somebody else. If you have clothes that and you find that you had this piece until you lose weight, it means
That's
that
what I
everything.
was just about to say. Some persons are holding on to clothes that they probably had since they're 16 and thinking that they're going to get back to that size.
Give it away.
Give it away and make room for the new.
Yeah, that's what I had come on to say. Declutter. Get open your hand and let it go. Something that broke, you tell yourself you'll fix it. No, throw it away, throw it away, throw it away, throw it away. It's not an heirloom. Throw it away. If you're going to fix it, fix it, but don't keep it broken in your space. Do
Sometimes
not keep anything like that.
the part, because the thing is so old, the part is to fix it is the cost of a new one. But yet you're still holding on to this thing and it's just collecting dust and you will not get rid of it. When the part to replace it and fix it is the cost of a new one. And that is the truth because the way how things going so quickly these days, there is an advancement every 2 minutes. So why am I
Sometimes you no
investing?
longer have the parts.
They don't have the part, and then you probably need to order the part from China with everything that going on. You're wasting time straight away. Somebody might find it and they need parts for it for something else. Release it so that the universe could make you could make room for other things to come. And
Oh,
just
goodness.
holding on to things and then years passing you by and you're toting these things with you, and because they're surrounded by you all the time, you didn't recognize how heavy everything is and it weighing on your body until you end up by the doctor and then you decide, oh, good, oh, good. No, 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 I need to get rid of this. No, 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 I can't have no negative conversations. No, 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 no. No, 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 I can't answer this person. No, 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 no. Then you decide, well, no, I need to take care of myself now. When you could put these steps in place day by day right now as it is, instead of waiting to go and spend thousands of dollars by the doctor before you put these steps in place. And that is why also Befitment has designed for persons who are interested a 7-day genius jumpstart. So let me just give you all a little overview of it so that you all can see what I am talking about. Okay, so you're seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
All right, so that is this here. So this is the 7-day genius jumpstart presented by Befitment. So it is the opportunity for you to start where you are and build who you're becoming. So, of course, you download the app, you have the wellness guide, the goals tracker, the mental fitness exercises, weekly full body workouts, the mindset masterclass, qualified consultations, and so much more. Of course, it is available on both Android and Apple. So, why the 7-day genius jumpstart matters? Because mindset is the foundation. Movement also builds momentum, and fueling well supports focus and fire. And of course, with this, you're focusing on the three aspects of your being because a lot of times we tend to focus on one and ignore the others. And also, it helps with self discovery.
Catherine.
Yeah, so you would be able to reconnect you with your personal power, give structure to your motivation, build early momentum for lasting transformation, rewrite your identity of value, and help you integrate mindset, movement, and nutrition into one simple, doable rhythm. And of course, we have the pre day welcome, and you have all the days and what is required for the days as well. And you have the 7-day plan overview. So you start with mindset, then you move into nutrition, then you move into exercise, and then you move into goal achievement. And of course, you would be able to keep it up because you have the Genius Goals challenge as well to be part of. You have the Be Active schedules for those who are interested. And then we also have the Fuel and Flex challenge for June, which includes a lot of squats for this month. So if it is something that you are interested in, you could private message us and we would send the PDF to you. And also in the app, you have the opportunity to upload all of your progress. All right, so let
Is there an
me.
additional cost for that, or is that
No, 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 no. Anybody could just private message us and we will send it
and
for.
what's the name of it?
It is the.
7-day genius jumpstart, does
Yes,
it
the
call?
seven
The
day genius
jumpstart?
jumpstart. Yeah. 7-day
Okay.
genius jumpstart. Yes. So if it is something that you are interested in, just private message us. For those who are new, the contact number is 336. Sorry, 868. I know Sarah is new. 868 336 1809. And I'll repeat it. The contact number is 868-336-1809. So I have a lot of other things to share with you. So let me let you know. All right. Okay, this is the things that I was trying to load. Let me see if I could get it back up. Sorry about this. All right, well, let me just let you know what is the schedule for the Balance Center for this week in the interim. So tonight we discussed the power of starting ugly, which is now the Genius Goals, Fuel and Flex series, because the two are merged, because it is also important to focus on your body while you are doing mind goals, because everything functions as one. On Tuesday, we have counseling and consultations, and then we will be discussing overcoming perfectionism, which would be a continuation of tonight. And of course, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are available to premium members. I would bring up the information for premium shortly. And then from 7, we have the Fuel and Flex full body workout. For those who are interested online, you can also participate. You could private message us and let us know. On Wednesday, we have counseling and consultations. And then from 6, we have creative, confidence, and self belief. So, whereas tonight's topic, the power of starting ugly, it is also a confidence issue. So, if it isn't something that you are interested in, let us know and you would like to join, and where we would be discussing where clarity comes from action and not planning. And that is the thing. When the thoughts come, a lot of times we ignore it. We just ignore, because a lot of times you would plan and plan and plan and plan, and you still have your same plans and resolutions, and you never put any action towards it. And then on Thursday, we have counseling and consultations, and this session is free, which we would be discussing life momentum through micro actions. So you're recognizing that everything is flowing from tonight's discussion, where small motion leads to big motivation. And of course, after that, we have the Fuel and Flex body workout again, because it happens both Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. On Friday, we have counseling and consultations. And then from 3, we have Free to Be, where you could celebrate, relax, restore, and unwind. If you are interested, you can reach out to us and make an appointment. And then Saturday, we have counseling and consultations from 10. And then from 3 p.m., we are closed. And this is our Be Active schedule, which is also $96 a month, which is the cost of membership. And you also get access to the classes during the week. And as I said before, it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. at the Befitment Balance Center, Shogunas. And for those who are interested online, we can also send you the link. And I'm not sure if any of you all saw this, but Befitment would be in Barbados from June 7th to 16th to attend the Caribbean Regional Conference of Psychology. So you could look out for insight stories during this time. So we would be in Barbados to present as well at the conference. I do not think that it will be broadcasted, but we would also have an interview on the 10th of June. The presentation is on the 11th. And then we would also be attending the Caribbean Regional Conference of Psychology Cultural Nights. So you all could look out for the insights and the updates during that time via social media. So let me just try to find back the all right, before I continue, we also have this available for persons who are interested. So another thing that Befitment does is counseling and consultations. So if it is something that you are interested in, you could reach out to us. And of course, premium members already have access to it. If it is personal, it is family, if it is your child, whoever it is that is experiencing it, you could reach out to us and let us know, and we would take it from there, because a lot of times persons are not aware of the resources that are available, and especially with children. And of course, in the case of children, those they have the least access to resources. So if you know your child is struggling, or it might even be a family member that is struggling, you could feel free to reach out to us, and we will be able to assist you in that way. All right. So, oh, sorry, I saw Kim has her hand raised. I didn't realize.
Hi, hi, Adana. I'm just reminding we will be presenting at the conference, not
Yes,
just attending.
yes, that's what I told them. Yeah, we would be presenting as well at the conference.
We will
I think
be
it's on
presenting based
November.
on being invited.
Yes,
So, befitment, when you are dealing with befitment, it is clear that people know that befitment has the expertise. And
mm-hmm.
as we heard from Lisa, as well as Anastasia, who have been using the techniques and have been through the befitment way, you could see why they're leaders on the leadership board. Yes,
Yes.
and Anastasia and Lisa, I don't know how you all will think. You all might end up tying for this
We
prize
might
this
go
time.
together and carry me.
No, no, child, how you'll get there? How you'll get there? So, Befitment has the capacity to assist in all areas of whatever you are facing and whatever you think you might need some assistance in. And before, and even if you cannot get to getting right away, there's always the app and the categories in the app which can provide some temporary assistance for you while you are going through whatever it is, waiting to speak with someone. So, and
Yes.
I think that we have a podcast, not so? So people can join in when we're having that podcast because we are being represented by our counseling psychologist,
Yes. Yes.
Nicola George, who will present based on invitation. So people, befitment is
Yes.
words fail me, so I ended up with the
Yeah.
yes.
So, also remember, for the Genius Goals Challenge, the person who wins will be getting a trip to
Saint
St.
Vincent
Vincent and the
and the
Grenadines. And for tonight's question, are you all ready to write it down? And it is a very simple question. Very, 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 very simple question. And the question, of course, it will be posted on social media. After the question states, I will pour love into what I already have by, and then you would state the steps. So you're shifting your focus away from the ugly, and you're focusing and pouring love into what you already have. So I will pour love into what I already have by, and then you will state the steps. Because I know for Lisa and Anastasia, in doing this challenge weekly, what would happen is that when the opportunity comes up for you to continue in your old patterns, once you have really thought about it and thought about the steps forward, you would recognize when the opportunity comes, you would make a different choice. And that is really the purpose of the Genius Goals Challenge, to make a different choice when the opportunity is presented to you to do so. So it is really about making a different choice. Because I know you're probably wondering why it is you have the same results, because you're making the same choice. You really, really need to make a different choice. And before we end for tonight, let me just let you know about our premium and free membership. So, premium membership, of course, is $96 a month or 14 US. Sorry about it. I really need to, I would add it to this. And with that, you would get group fitness activities, wellness progress tracker, purpose and awareness guide, professional goals development for those who are interested in that, access to the well-being mentorship masterclass, qualified psychological consultations, access to the Be Better series classes, which are on a Tuesday and Wednesday, and up to 25% discount on select events, email/telephone support, and a 30-day guarantee. And of course, these are a few of the partners that we have partnered with, present and in the past. And if you want to continue as a free member, these are the benefits, which is the daily in-app content, mental fitness exercises, online community support and sessions, chat and email ticket support, general wellness and well-being guide, sleep and fatigue reduction guide, inner balance and meditation guide, and the personal stress and anxiety relief techniques. So if you are interested, yes, Katrina, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just want to invite the premium members who come for the fitness on a Tuesday and Thursday that you are also entitled to, if you wanted to come earlier from 6, to sit in on the classes so that are going on, and then go to the fitness at 7.
Yes, 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 yes. So, guys, I would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you for logging on. Remember to pour love into what you already have this week. Do not chastise it. Do not consider it ugly. Do not only see the imperfections. Pour love and allow it to blossom and bloom into what it is supposed to be. All right? So have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful remainder of your week. I hope to see some of you all online during the week. And see you all back here next Monday, same place, same time. Have a good night and have a good week, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.